In the first few verses, Krishna talked about how when he appears, and if one understands his appearance, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities, doesn't upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So if one can understand Krishna's tattva, means Krishna in truth, that Krishna is not an ordinary person like us, and when he comes to this existence in this material world, he comes for a purpose, to establish the religion, to remove unwanted things, and to spread dharma. So if one understands Krishna's reasons for appearance and Krishna's activities as not material but they are transcendental, such a person, when he leaves the body, he will be liberated. He will go back to Vaikuntha. He will not be in this material world again. So that's what Krishna stated. And to attain Krishna, right, what are the things that will block one? Those are explained in the. So everybody now desires to attain Krishna, but there are things we should know that will block if we have. Vitaraga, Bhaya, Krodha. So these are the three things: fear and anger and attachment. So these three things, if we have, we will not be able to attain Krishna. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me. So you can be freed from these three things if you are absorbed in God and taking refuge in me. Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. Madbhavam agataha. So if you want to be fearless in this world, if you want to be free from anger, if you want to be free, become free from attachments of this material world, the way it can happen is by being absorbed in God. Means always seeing in Krishna consciousness, always staying in Krishna consciousness. Like we lose some loved ones now, we are losing many loved ones in India. All of us have experienced more or less. So still we take all these instances in Krishna conscious spirit by remembering them, by praying for them. So in this way, when we, in every incident, whether it is good or bad, fearful or things that cause anger, all these situations we absorb in Krishna. We relate to our life in a Krishna conscious way. So when we do like that, we become purified. In those thoughts, you purify yourself, and by knowledge of me, you will actually do what? You will tell love for me. You don't see, many times we have seen this experience when setbacks happen in life, people become doubtful about God's existence because they thought if God is there and I'm only a nice person, I'm always worshiping him, why such a thing happened, bad things happen to my life, right? Many people have this challenge of accepting unkind things in life, right? But how do we understand? Can anybody tell? How do we see that situation? Nitin Prabhu?
Yes, bro. So question was, if we face challenges in practical life, how do we experience? I mean, how do we react to it?
Yeah, how do we see in a way that we don't lose faith? Many people lose faith in God. They think if God is there, if God is all loving, all caring, all powerful, he can do anything if he wants, and all merciful, he's all kind.
Yes.
How do we accept, when things happen in a way that is not nice to us, when we are nice to us?
Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, maybe I read a little bit more on a lot of other things. I will just I don't have exact verses and references right now, but I can.
Just
This is
explain
what
in
I
plain words.
yes. So, what we see God is like, first of all, I always feel I'm lucky that I got the best life that I could ever get in my life. And even when I'm seeing that my relatives and good ones are suffering, or sometimes I'm suffering from health, but I feel God is so merciful to put me in America, to put me in Krishna consciousness. That's one. Second is, I feel God is merciful that if you look at insect, animals, they cannot chant, they cannot do the bhakti life. I got a human body and I'm able to do bhakti lives. So I just feel God is so merciful. Because I got an opportunity, God gave opportunity to me. And then other thing is, I also see that the nature created by God is so wonderful, because we cannot go and create a nature. This is all created by Krishna for us to live and see through it, that this is how wonderful the nature is, created by Krishna, like the river, the water, the fruits, the trees, the plants, everything around us is form of Krishna. The whole universe is creation is of Krishna. So I just feel whenever I run into the problem, I said, I'm just experiencing a pain, that's why I just feel the pain and I want to take the pain out. But if I think that this is a Paramatma's plans, and my pain is due to my past karmas, because I see that people are living, the good people leaves the body, maybe they completed their life in this body and they are now moving on to the next path. And this is a God's mercy that they don't want them to suffer more than what they have suffered. So he just ends the part of this life and moves on. So that is where I'm trying to understand myself, Prabhu.
Very nice. You put in very nice points actually. Yeah, everybody has a span of life according to their karma, right? So everybody has, God has a plan for everybody. The period they stay in a particular body. Uh, so of course, yeah, when we lose them, we feel very sad about them, that we don't relate to them, because the love is experienced in relations, right? So, and when we miss that, yes, that is a loss. But as long as they were all spiritual all their life and we continue to pray for their spiritual welfare, we should not be worried. There is nothing lost. Body changed. That's all. Like, for example, you have moved from India to here. Now you're not physically available to your relatives, friends, brothers, sisters, but they know you're there somewhere and you're happy, right? So that's how we have to see. They are not there with us in this, in this world, or in this, in a physical body that we know, but they are there. That is what Gita is teaching us. So it is just that the body has changed. And with this knowledge, when we relate to everybody, and we always can pray for them, that is the good thing, right? We can always pray for their well-being. So in whatever body they may be, it could be demigod or in the spiritual world, wherever, that will take that those prayers will still be with them. So in this way, we can always express our love. There is nothing that stops us from expressing our love for them. And when these things happen in our life, we should not be like, uh, we feel sad, or we feel, very unhappy with God because we have certain expectations on what God has to give us. That is very challenging, because God has a plan of his own, what is best for each of us, and we are interfering in the way to do it in the way that we want. And it means that we are temporarily taking the position of God. We want to be the controller, and that is not going to work, because that's not how the nature works in this world. God has a perfect plan to clear to, you know to see the best of everybody, right? You don't know, maybe he's going to Vaikunta and you want him to be here. Who knows, right? So best thing is, as Prabhu said, we should accept God's plan and have faith in God, that, through prayer you can always do welfare for them. So in this way you will never, of course there is pain of loss, but through that prayer we feel some kind of solace, right? That at least you did your best from your side, in actually helping them in whatever way you can, right? Whether they have body or not. Yeah. So
Uh, Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I have a kind of question on this.
Hmm.
So right now we know His Grace Prabhu
Pankajanga Prabhu.
Panchangi, yeah, he passed
Pankajanga
away.
Prabhu, yeah.
We
Mhm.
all, everyone prayed so much that
Hmm.
Krishna just gives all his strength, and we still have him. We prayed so much.
Yes.
But I heard that he did not wanted to be on ventilator. He
Hmm.
wanted to be conscious. So how do we understand this situation? Like, we, everyone prayed so much that he still lives, but right now we are talking that Krishna has plans
Hmm.
for everyone, and maybe he's really going to Vaikuntha now, but we still tried our best, that, and doctors tried and everyone tried, that he still stays here. So how do we understand really this situation?
Mhm. Yeah. So Prabhu left couple of days back. He is the head pujari of Mayapur temple, especially the Narsimha temple. Uh, and through him, we have actually prayed for many devotees here and elsewhere. So now he left the body, and all of us, naturally as devotees, our dharma is to actually pray for them, right? Because we want their association, their satsang. We want to see them act in this world so that it becomes exemplary for us, and we follow them in their footsteps, right? So we should always pray like that. But whatever God's plan is, we accept that, and we don't complain, oh, why Krishna took him away, it's not fair. We don't complain like that. And through all his life, all he did was dedicate his life completely to the service of Krishna, right? uh, in this case, in this particular devotee's case, whether we pray for him or whether he was conscious at the time of death or not, Krishna already assures, for a devotee, I always take care of them. You don't need to worry. You don't, you know, he is not dependent on our prayers to either stay in this world or to go back to God. No, he has, through his own endeavor, through his own service to Krishna, he has already qualified himself to go back to Vaikuntha. So his life is glorious, as the Pankajangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu, they were both from England. As young, in their as young boys in their teenage, they have visited India in spiritual search, and they landed up in Mayapur, and they saw the devotees and they were inspired. And these two boys, from the age of 18 to 20, they have, once they experienced Krishna consciousness, they heard about Srila Prabhupada and his teachings, they felt like this is the home. And since then they have stayed in West Bengal, Mayapur, all their life. Never they went out of that place. All their life they've served as pujaris for this deities in Mayapur. Very simple life, just dedicated their life. And they are not even Indian bodies, they are from uh, you know uh, England, right? So that is Krishna consciousness, right? All their life they spent only in the service of Krishna. So their life is like, you know they're assured of going back to Vaikuntha, right? Spiritual world, Goloka. Yeah. So our duty is to pray for them to stay, but Krishna has a better plan. Maybe he has a service in another, whether it is a spiritual world, or maybe Krishna is performing pastime somewhere else in some other place where he is going to engage this devotee in his service. We don't know what is Krishna's plan, and we accept that as the best plan for him. And we are very happy. Actually, they are very happy because it's like somebody worked all their life, and you know he was playing shuttle all, or say badminton, uh, what do you call, tennis all life, and now they won Wimbledon, right? How happy are they? So similarly, the devotee who spent all their life in service of Krishna, in in all these ways, and now they attained the highest perfection, that death is like a test for them. They just passed it and they went back to Krishna, right? Just the, it's like final uh, you know final step, going back to God. So for them, it is the most happiest situation. For us, it is painful situation because we are going to not have his association. We
Yeah.
cannot talk to him. We cannot hear from them. We cannot serve them. So we are the one who are losers here, right? And
Yeah.
in that respect, we always pray for them, pray to Krishna to keep them in our association. But Krishna has a plan. We accept it. We don't, complain. Uh, we understand Krishna has the best interest for him and for us also. So we accept his plan as the best. We don't feel sad for it afterwards. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
yeah, Haribol. Aranya Mataji has something. Suffering is a good thing as it brings us closer to Krishna and helps us remember Krishna even more. Very nice. What happens is part of a larger plan, and at any point in time we cannot see the full picture. That's true. Everything happens for a reason, and reason is always good, but we don't know what the reason is or the plan is, and that's what causes us to worry or doubt what happens. If we can come to trust Krishna to do what's best for us, for all of us, then there is no doubt. He's our father, so why would he hurt us, ever hurt us? We would never hurt our kids, and so we need to accept his plan. Very nicely put. Thank you, Mataji. Very nicely put. Aranya Mataji, she is not feeling well. She has vaccine and she got fever and she's not feeling well at all. So she said she can't talk, but she can message.
And Prabhu 8.5 also talks about the
That's
same, right?
true. Yeah, yeah. 8.5 also talks about chapter 8 is full of knowledge about leaving this body. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Don't even doubt. If you remember Krishna, the whole life is all about remembering God. That is the perfection of spiritual life. Yeah, this we read. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तां तथैव भजाम्यहं मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्यः पार्थ सर्वसः. Ye yatamam prapadyante, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Based on one's surrender, one gets the result. We discussed this last week. I'm going to discuss this. Now let's move on to the today's verse. This is a beautiful verse. The next two verses are very practical verses. Kankshita karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devata क्षिप्रम हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. Who will read for me? Sagar Prabhu, can you read for me?
Yes, Prabhu. Men in this world desire success in creative activities and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from creative work in this world.
Men or women? I mean, it's gender neutral. Kankshitaha karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devata. Iha devata means the demigods. Indra, Varuna, Vayu, Agni, Vinayaka, Lord Shiva. All these are all considered demigods. Demigods are basically representatives of God who are in charges of various activities of this world. They're like ministers for different portfolios. If you want water, there is a particular demigod. If you want a good job, there is a if you want good marks, there is a demigod. So like that, there is for every department, just like we have in the material world, there is a departments, and there are ministries for them and the minister for them. So similarly, the whole middle world is organized such that there are demigod in charges. If you want to digest, there is also a demigod for that. It doesn't happen just like that. We think, oh, digestion just happens. No, there is a lot of complex process going on. For your breathing, everything is controlled. Vayu, all the devatas are making all this material world manifest in the way it is. Now, if you want success in this world, just like if you want certain thing, you can bribe a minister in this world, like that, right? You can always do that. Many people do that. So similarly, if you want certain specific things of this world, there are methods of worship given in Vedas. Almost Vedas are filled with ritualistic worships. 90% of the content is that. Lot of, if you look at, vratas, there are so many vratas given in Vedas, which are all to fulfill certain material desires of jivas. And Krishna is saying, quickly, of course, men will get the results from fruitive work in this world. So you do your work, you worship the demigod, and as long as you do the work properly, you would get the results. That is how the material world works. So the difference between God and demigod is that God is like a father, demigod is like a shopkeeper. Suppose your child comes to you and asks you for a chocolate, and the child has cough. Will you give a chocolate? Nitin Prabhu, will you give a chocolate?
No, Prabhu.
Why?
Because the side effect of chocolate, the teeth will get bad.
Not only that, he has cough,
Yes,
so
cough.
it's going to
Yes,
spoil him for
spoil because of sugar. Yes.
Now Shivam is Prabhu's son. Shivam decides, okay, my dad is not giving me, so let me, he has some pocket money. Now he goes to the shop nearby, and okay, I want to eat it anyway. So he will give that money to the shopkeeper. Will the shopkeeper give the chocolate or not?
Of course, he will give because he gets the money. His business is to accept money and give the product. Yes.
Yes. So that's exactly how demigods work. So you can worship demigods and get whatever you want. They're like shopkeeper. You do certain vrata in a certain way, chanting certain mantras, giving certain things as part of the procedure. You will get the result accordingly. Nothing would stop it for me. But you are doing, why are you approaching demigod first of all? Why is Shivam approaching the shopkeeper? Because
Desire
he has a certain
to
desire.
enjoy.
He wants to eat certain things. I mean, he's a very nice boy. He doesn't do that. I'm just telling for the example,
That's
not
fine.
to.
Yeah. Sure, bro.
So please don't mind.
No, I don't mind, bro. This is a good example, it can apply to anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
example, right?
Yes.
I know
Connecting
Shivam is
to
a
someone.
very nice devotee, by the way.
No, bro. It's just he just
Wonderful
does
devotee.
very little.
Yeah. So this is exactly the demigod system work. You can worship Parvati to get a good husband, Lord Shiva to get a certain powers. All these would work if you sincerely worship the demigod, following the procedure and please them. Lord Shiva is called Ashutosh, who can who can be very easily pleased, and he can fulfill your desires as soon as you ask with humility and in the right procedure. So the demigod worship is like that. So you pray to the demigod and you ask for it and you pay the right price, you get it. But father is not like that. A father would always see what is the best in the long term. And it doesn't mean the demigods are, just like a shopkeeper is not wrong when he gives it because you paid the price. So in that sense, you cannot say the demigods are wrong, but the whole phenomena is explained here. Kshipram hi manushe loke. In this world, what do the people do? They have a lot of desires. And so to quickly fulfill, they approach the demigod and do the procedures they need. Many people don't even have today faith in demigods, but in case if they have, at least like 50 years back, everybody were worshipping, doing Sachina Vrata and all these other pujas at home. Lakshmi Puja. Lakshmi Puja, exclusively Lakshmi, if you worship, that is also kind of a demigod worship, because many people do just for increasing Lakshmi in their home, Lakshmi or wealth. But will Lakshmi ever come without Vishnu? Will she ever stay in a place where there is no Vishnu? She doesn't, because she would always want to be with Vishnu. And if you worship Vishnu, Lakshmi always comes there, because that's how Lakshmi's fortune is Vishnu or Krishna, right? So we should do the right way. So here the demigod worship is mentioned as a worship that is desired by people who have who want quick desires to be fulfilled, right? So, and accordingly they get the results, right? It's no big deal. So there is a great misconception about gods or demigods of this world and men of less intelligence, although passing as great scholars, take these demigods to be various forms of Supreme Lord. Actually, the demigods are not different forms of God, but they are gods, different parts and parcels. You see the difference between, so many people think, oh, Vinayaka is one God, you can worship Vinayaka and it is as good as worshipping Krishna, right? That is not. That is not. Demigods are empowered living entities. They are like souls, you and me. You have a soul, I have a soul, right? Or you are a soul, I am a soul. And we have this physical body. Just like a minister is like one of us, but he was elected and empowered with certain abilities so that they can, they can do certain things which we cannot do. They are more powerful. They can command, order, and get things done in a much better way than us, right? So similarly, demigods like Vinayaka, Lord Shiva is different. Okay, Lord Shiva is Shambhu Tattva. He is God's, different nature. Except Lord Shiva. Look at everybody else. Vinayaka, Indra, Varuna, Vayu, um, Subramanya Swami, or whoever people consider as worshipable, they are all demigods, empowered representatives of God. Okay? The supreme God is one, Krishna, and the demigods are delegated with powers to manage the material world. These demigods are all living entities with different grades of material power. They cannot be equal to the Supreme Lord Narayana, Vishnu, or Krishna. Anyone who thinks that God and demigods are on the same level is called an atheist or Pashandi. Iha Devata denotes a powerful man or demigod of this material world. But Narayana Vishnu doesn't belong to this world. He is above or transcendental to material. Even Sripad Shankaracharya, the leader of impersonalists, maintains that Narayana or Krishna is beyond the material creation. However, foolish people, Hritagnyana, worship the demigods because they want immediate results. They get the results, but do not know that the results so obtained are temporary and are meant for less intelligent persons. The intelligent person is in Krishna consciousness and he has no need to worship the paltry demigods for some immediate temporary benefit. You see? So these people are, even Krishna says in another verse that these are, these are less intelligent people who worship the demigods for quick and temporary benefits, because the benefits that you get are temporary in this world. Whatever you get, you worship demigod to get certain things, a job or a car or a home or a wife or a result or a pass in the exam or whatever. All these are temporary things. The demigods of this world, as well as the worshippers, will vanish with the annihilation of the middle world. By the way, all the Indra, Varuna, Vayu, they are all posts. Just like there is a irrigation ministry or a or a revenue ministry. Ministry is there, and there is a minister there. So Vigneshwar is a post. The son of Lord Shiva is the current bearer of the post. So in the next millennium, the same post will be there, the same responsibility will be there, but it will be headed by somebody else. So it keeps changing. A person, whoever is qualified at the time, will be given that post, right? And they live much longer. They live like millions of years longer. We live like 100 years is in their lifespan. It's just a minuscule time span. They live much longer, but still it is temporary. It's not forever. The boons of demigods are material and temporary, but both the material worlds and their inhabitants, including the demigods and their worshippers, are bubbles in the cosmic ocean. You see, in the bigger, if you just zoom out, in the bigger picture, the demigods are also, even though they are very powerful beings, still, they're just like bubbles in the cosmic ocean. In this world, however, human society is mad after temporary things such as material opulence or possessing land, family, and enjoyable paraphernalia. To achieve such temporary things, people worship the demigods or powerful men in human society. If a man gets some ministership in the government by worshipping a political leader, he considers that he has achieved a great boon. All of them are therefore kowtowing to the so-called leaders or big guns in order to achieve some temporary boons. And they indeed achieve such things. Such foolish men are not interested in Krishna consciousness for the permanent solution of to the hardships of material existence. So this is what we are after. We are not after demigods or temporary things. What we are targeting is much higher. Understand that. Okay. So they are all after sense enjoyment, and to get some little facility for sense enjoyment, they are attracted to worshipping empowered living entities known as demigods. This verse indicates that people are rarely interested in Krishna consciousness. Very rarely people take to Krishna consciousness, just like all of you are. Understand that this is a rare thing. Do not think that, oh, that person is worshipping that Baba, I am worshipping Krishna. They are not the same. What you are worshipping is a very, very rare. Even Krishna says in another verse, this is extremely rare. 1 in thousands will actually seek after absolute truth. And out of them, out of thousands of such people who are seeking, one will actually endeavor to do certain things. And very few of them will finally achieve perfection. And that's how it is said. Yeah, this is another beautiful verse. Chaturvarnam ayasrishtam. Any questions on this demigod worship before we move on? By the way, if you are worshipping some demigod, it doesn't mean that you just stop that worship right away. Okay. So there is a, you first add Krishna to your life, pray to Krishna and chant, and slowly, we can get to a stage where you fully develop faith in Krishna. At that time, you can consider, slowing down, because ultimately the demigods are very happy with you when you worship Krishna. It's like, suppose Prime Minister comes to your home and also some ministers comes to your home, and because you're part of the constituency of a minister, you have a high regard and love for them. You're very respectful for them all your life. Now when Prime Minister also comes to your home, it doesn't mean that you continue to talk to only your minister friend, right? He will be embraced. So when Krishna enters your life, or a Vishnu form, Rama, or any Narsinga form, any form you worship, that's fine. But when you worship such form, the other demigods will be very happy that now you have ultimately are trying after the ultimate supreme personality of Godhead. Okay. So they will not be upset with you. They will not harm you, or many people have all these kind of misconceptions about what happens if we stop worshipping this Vinayaka now. Is that going to hurt my life? No, they are very happy. They're the most happiest people because they know the truth more than you and I, right? So they know how they were empowered, how they got the powers, because they got the powers from the same person whom we are trying to worship. So they will be very happy for that. Okay, so they never. And first, you don't need to stop completely if you are already worshipping right now. Just add Krishna, and along with Krishna, you can continue to worship the demigod. At one point, if you get the inspiration, you can stop worshipping demigods and continue to just worship Krishna at the time, right? So there is nothing like you have to change tomorrow from tomorrow. Any questions on this? I expect generally people ask. Is everybody ready with that? Siddharth Prabhu, Sagar Prabhu, no questions?
No Prabhu, I am clear on that.
Okay.
Prabhu,
Nice.
if somebody is devoting Sai Baba or any other saintly person, but who does not even reveal whether he's devoting to Krishna or not. So how that person, how we should talk to that person and saying what you're doing and what we
First
should
of all,
suggest.
if they are worshipping certain demigod, we do not immediately tell them the conclusions of Bhagavad Gita right away because they may not be ready to accept and they get confused. So everybody gets their chance to learn at some point. If they accept it, they will learn it. But we don't ever force anybody or tell, oh, you are worshipping this demigod. He's not even, the scriptures do not say he's God. All that is maybe true, but we don't know everything. And so we don't discourage them. But as soon as, encourage them to study Bhagavad Gita from proper Guru Parampara, right? So then they will understand themselves, because generally how one ends up worshipping some demigod is they have certain problems. That's where it starts. And they try to approach some Baba or some Guru or somebody, and they solace them, they actually help them, they fulfill their problem, or and these people develop some faith in them, right? That's how many people start. And by directly experiencing or by hearing about people who had some experience like that, people develop faith. That's natural, right? Because everybody has problems. Anybody who solves the problems, they think that is the right way to worship, right? That's how it starts. But unfortunately, the problem there is it's all goes in sentiment. Out of 100 people who have their problem solved, there will be 10,000 people whose problems don't get solved.
Right.
It's always like that. But they keep the hope hearing about these 100 people all the time. And the whole system is based on sentiment, right? There is no firm footing in scripture. They don't study scripture, try to understand what is given in Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? So that's where the problem. The knowledge part is so only sentiment part stays, and over a period of time they take it for granted, and they don't really become sincere speakers of spiritual life, because it is not founded on a strong foundation. So when there is a foundation is weak, you don't develop over time, you lose interest, or you lack taste, and you slowly follow from that, right? So you completely stop worshipping, or you don't see much progress in your own life, because you started in a wrong class. So where will you end up? You won't get the engineering degree at the end of it, because there is no proper process. We talk about chanting here, we talk about Bhagavad Gita verses, we try to apply and see how what is Krishna teaching here, and with all evidence from scripture we speak everything here. So that's what is missing there. It's all based on a cult, or a sentiment and experiences of people, completely on that. So that's where it just blocks intellectual profanity, right? So you are just, you put all your faith in some person, and if that person is, for example, for God's sake, doesn't happen, but suppose at the end of his life it is revealed that he's a complete fraud, it is like going to break their life. It's just such a emotional trauma, right, for them, because all their life they spent worshiping that person, and now that person was proven to be a fraud.
Yep.
And you keep denying it because you don't think it is. But that Nityananda or whatever, there's so many people, right? Now I'm not going to
Yes.
speak any
Yes.
individual name, but that's how it is. But now here we base everything on scripture. Then there is faith, because thousands of people in the past have followed Bhagavad Gita, and just like two verses back, what did Krishna say? Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me. You see, like this, verses like this. So where is the assurance for what they say, what they promise? They all say, you worship me and you will reach me. But what is the scriptural evidence that they are the gods? No scriptures ever told.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we accept only those people who were revealed by scripture as gods. We don't accept any random person who can do some magic, produce some vibhuti, or cure a disease. Those are like tricks. Anybody with some siddhis can play those tricks. In the past, we had seen so many people. The world has seen so many people who are able to do such siddhis, right? It's no big deal. I had personally witnessed a person who walked on water, just like you walk on land.
Oh,
I have
Krishna.
seen I have seen a yogi who can walk on water. In my
Yes.
childhood, when I am like third grade, I have seen this person who came to our village. He showed the magic of walking on water. I was astonished. I thought everybody was, when he came out of water, everybody was worshipping him like God. Yeah? But that is just a mystic siddhi. And he told, I'm not God. I just followed this particular process. And if you follow certain process, you will get the result. Just like you follow certain engineering process, you get certain abilities, right? You can build some engine, or right? You can control the nature. So you can control nature in a gross way or subtle way. So this person has subtle powers because of his, through the process of uh, a particular process of his yoga, he's able to attain these powers, supernatural powers. So he's just told, all these powers exist already, and I just tapped onto them through my practice. If you are able to, for example, if you are able to study for 15 years and are able to make an earning of say 200,000 in a year, right, and able to procure certain things in this world, why not a person who spent say 15 years attain certain power on nature? It's just a different order of business. That's all. You are able to spend this much time and attain certain thing. He is able to spend his time in certain process of meditation. He's surrendered to it and was able to achieve certain result. So it's no different. It's just a different process, different result. And we don't recommend either of these, either powers on siddhis of this material world, or we we follow a process which will take us out of this world itself. We don't want to be stick around and in this material world. We want to go back to spiritual world.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yeah.
So you have mentioned that in Vedas itself, some demigod worship has been mentioned.
Yes, Mataji.
Right? So in those days they were doing that. But when did people start worshipping people? Because many siddhas are there. They themselves told, "I'm not God. I am messenger only." But suddenly people started worshipping them. Of
Correct.
late, it's more coming more and more. So when did this started? And is there any mention in the Vedas about this?
No, it is mentioned that in Kali Yuga there will be a lot of bogus gurus. That's what is mentioned. A lot of people who claim to be God. That is one reason when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world, he always denied himself to be God. Though he is God, even Buddha, he is God himself, as you know, as we discussed last week or last week. I have shown in evidence where Lord Buddha, the scripture already mentioned. Scripture was written 5,000 years back, and Lord Buddha came 2,000 years back. It is mentioned that Lord Buddha is God himself, Shaktaveshanka avatar. But he himself never accepted. Lord Chaitanya was mentioned in the scripture, but he himself was never accepted. But all these other fake gurus and fake godmen, they incite some followers to make them worship as God, or they themselves declare themselves to be God. The reason they do it is just a business. When you start worshiping somebody, there will be naturally people coming with so many desires and so many projects to work with them, right? So it's kind of business for them. So many people, after these powerful beings, they leave the body, they make them God. Baba, Sai Babas and all, when they lived, they never said they are God. But to make that place as a business place or a place of holy uh, backing, right, to run the businesses, after these people leave, they want to keep that personality as God so that they can continue to run these businesses. So all these kinds of tricks are played by people. And people who make others as gods is purely after business, because they can look after the business of inviting people and making these meetings happen, and arranging them at some cost. I have heard about certain babas who collect 40,000 to have a lunch with them, right? 40,000 rupees in India, like that. So you have one lunch with them, and that baba will bless you in that lunch, and for that you have to pay about 40,000 rupees. So like that. So there are so many such kinds of sentimental things happen, because the Prabhupada says one thing: in this world there are always cheaters, and always there are people who are cheated. As long as people want some quick real benefit, they'll go after these cheats and they get sucked. Cheaters and cheated are always there, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct, Prabhuji.
Kankshit, this we studied. Yeah, next. Chaturvarnam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagasa tasya kartaram apimam vidhi akartaram avyayam. Chaturvarnam maya srishtam is a very powerful verse again. Chaturvarnam means char, four varnas. Maya srishtam, who created them? Krishna only created them. Guna karma vibhagasaha means they are divided, the four varnas and four ashramas. What are the four varnas? Anybody knows? What are the four varnas? There are four varnas and four ashramas. Anybody know?
Brahmacharya,
Brahman,
Vaishya, Shudra.
Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. And what are the ashrams? Brahmacharya,
Brahmacharya, Grihastha,
Grahastha, Vanaprastha,
Vanaprastha,
and
Sannyasa.
Sannyas. Yeah. So these are the four ashramas, four varnas and four ashramas. So all these are created by Krishna. Maya Srishtam. Guna Karma Vibhagasa. How they are divided into four groups? It is based on guna and karma. Right? One's competency and character. Guna means character, karma means competency. Based on these two, the varnas and ashramas are created. Tarsha kartaram apimam means even though I am the creator, vidhi akartaram avyayam. Even though I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer being unchangeable. What does it mean? And what exactly these four varnas and four ashramas are? These are natural divisions in society. You go and see any society, you will find people who are intellectual. Intellectual class of people are called brahmanas. Not a specific, sect of people who are, doing temple worship and all that. That's not how the meaning is. The meaning is Brahma Janati iti Brahmana means one who is inquiring into absolute truth. Those are Brahmanas, right? By one's quality, one becomes a Brahmana, not by one's birth, right? He is called a Dvija Bandhu. One who is born in a Brahmana family, he is called a Dvija Bandhu, means he's a relative of a Brahmana. But he doesn't become a Brahmana until he is actually inquisitive about God. So, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. These are natural division in human society. You will find in the human society, there will be people who are intellectual, or Brahmanas. There will be people who will be ruling, Kshatriyas. There will be people who will be mercantile or businessmen. Always you will find these people. And you will also find people who are, labor. Labor class means Sudra or working class, right? In Kali Yuga, 95% of the people are considered to be in Sudra class. So even though you are born in a Brahmana family, doesn't mean that you are a Brahmana. Mostly we are all Sudras, means we are working for somebody, right? Other three classes, they don't depend on others. They are independent, right? So this is a natural division, right? You find this everywhere. So many people think India has a caste system that is very, but that is wrong understanding, right? Based on one's character and competency, this is such a natural division. For example, if somebody is born in a particular Sudra family where the parents are making pottery, right? So it becomes so easy for the child to actually learn the same art and become proficient because he always has the experience of seeing and working with his father. Similarly, a person who is in a business or in a mercantile, trading, so a son of his actually can easily learn those skills naturally, right? So in this way, in the previous times, life was very easy because people were fixed in their duties. Now if you go out, a student passes out 10th class or 10th grade, he has like 100 choices and he doesn't know which one to pick because uh, you know and everybody follows what is the vogue, what is the uh, fashion of the day. If you in India, for the last 3-4 decades, it is either engineer or doctor or lawyer. Engineer or doctor, no, that's not even lawyer. Engineer or doctor, those are the two professions because that's where most people think they can make more money or whatever, right? Or there are more jobs, whatever. If somebody is interested in art or music or any other creative skills, they're not encouraged in those directions. So that is because society is now as organized as it was before, right? So in the previous days, it is naturally organized in this way. There are 4 varnas and people naturally adhere to those varnas. They don't change, they don't try to cross the varnas, right? So in that way, society was maintained very calm, peacefully, and everybody is supplied sufficiently. Now, how much ever you have, government can print more money and make your whatever you have less, right? Previously, parents can have 10 children and not worry about raising them. Now, if you have more than one child or two child, you think, oh, how can they survive? Can they get educated? Can they pay their medical bills? How are people living like 100 years back or 50 years back? They were never worried. So all these are all because we don't follow this varnashrama system. We these are problems that we created for ourselves. Right? So there is a natural system, and people were simple living and high thinking. For even like people like who are doing cultivation, right? They were like for a few months they had to work. For the rest of the year they'll spend more time in hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita in their own village, right? So people were never like after work all day and night and all through the year without any personal life for them. So we made our life very very busy. We run after things. We create all these financial systems which are totally broke. These are all because we deviate from the natural system, the more we suffer. So this natural system, chatur varnam maya system, so there is a supporting, so the whole system was there to actually get one closer to God, right? So the four ashramas, brahmacharya, where the student life, where the child learns about how to make a living is one thing, also about the purpose of life under a guru, under an able guru, and then after that he can dedicate his life to God, or he can enter grihastha ashram. And grihastha ashram is the ashram that actually takes care of all the other ashramas. So previously it was like that. Grihastha ashram, they lead a ideal grihastha life centered around God. After 55-60 years of life, they actually enter vanaprastha, where in today's life there is no vanaprastha. You can still continue to live centered around God, right? So you cannot go to a vana and these conditions are not in Kali Yuga. It's not recommended that way. So in Kali Yuga, you can retire from your active work and center more around God. And then finally, sannyas means where one completely gives up his family and dedicates his life totally to him, right? Totally to God. So, and then that time he will come out of his home, right? So up to so this is the standard recommended. So this is all what? This is all centered around how one can progress spiritually in his lifespan, right? It's a time progression that is that is making the social structure is designed in such that as a person passes through the phases of life, he gets closer and closer to God. You see, such a beautiful system. Chatur Varna, this Varna system was designed like that. And so this is ashram. And then Varnas are how they're divided. They're based on one's guna and karma. Where you are competent, work only in that area. If you are a kshatriya nature, you better stick to that and provide your services in that particular area, right? And because you so the you have the competency, you learn the competency. In today's world there is no teaching of character. Guna and karma both are very important to a, a, a king can be a very good king only if he has good competency as well as character, right? So both are important. So based on one's guna and karma, these ashrams and these were divided. In previous days, there was guidance on how each of us can adhere to these ashrams according to our own nature and our competencies. Right? We fall into Brahmana son can actually go back to Shudra's standard, or a Shudra because of his Brahmanical nature can actually advance to a Brahmana, right? So the system was open. But as time progressed, caste system played a bigger role, where people, Brahmanas, were, considering themselves to be higher grade, and then, trying to exploit other ashramas. In the beginning of Kali Yuga, this system was not is exploited. That's the reason it has degraded after that. Nobody believes in caste system anymore, and the caste system is a perverted reflection of varnashram dharma. Perverted reflection means the negative impression of the original system, right? Right. So that is varnashrama, right? So very well designed so that one can progress spiritually and also lead a happy and harmonious life while living in this world, according to one's own competencies and character. And another important thing is tashikartaram apimam vidhi akartaram avyayam. Krishna has created this system, this varnashrama dharma, but he is not the doer. I'm yet the non-doer. Means he is not putting people into these categories. Just like, for example, I studied in a college in intermediate, right? So there were 4 divisions in the college. The star batch, double star batch, and regular A batch and B batch. 4 batches were there. The idea is these classes were divided such that the best students actually go to the double star batch. The next best would be in the star batch, and then A and B. So people would go according to, based on their performance only. It's right. And is the college responsible for putting different students in the different batches? No. College only created this facility so that they get the best out of the best people. They give the best teachers and best facilities in the double star batch, right? Because college gets certain reputation, they have certain inclination. They also want to provide better support for those who are very interested in studying, right? So it's a natural system, natural division, the way it was divided. And college only creates a system. Students, based on their own work and performance, they qualify to double star or A or B, right? So there is no forced function. Nobody is forced. It's not a discriminatory system. It is just a natural division, and based on one's competency and character, one fits into a particular batch. And college is not responsible. That's what exactly it is said here. Yet I'm yet the non-doer, being the unchangeable. Meaning, Krishna has created the system. He doesn't put you and me into, say, Sudra class. Based on our own character and competency, based on our own past karma, we fit into a particular category, right? So he is the non-doer. He is the creator of the system. But you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being the unchangeable. I'm not putting. I have no partiality. I'm not putting a person into this or that. I just created the system. This is a natural division, and the whole system was designed such that. Now, what are the alternatives for Varnashrama Dharma? In today's world, there is how the society is divided, at a broader level, not at this granular level, but the society at a high level was divided into. There are countries that adopt capitalism, or countries that adopt socialism, right? Capitalism means where capital is the central piece, right? The whole society is run by large businesses, right? Big businesses, and they employ people, and the whole society was divided into these business magnates and the people who work for them. So that's how the whole American society was divided. And in there are places, socialistic nations, where the society was divided based on the center is the country, right? Country is the rule, and people are given facilities. Nobody owns anything. Everybody serves country and they get something. Right? That is socialist division. So these are various ways to divide. But if you look at the bigger picture, all of them have a lot of drawbacks. In fact, the socialistic system was completely collapsed. They changed to something very different from the original ideals of the original creators of in the 1920s, right? Whoever, what is the name, Stalin or whoever, I don't remember the names. The original ideals were not at all followed, because there are people who exploit for a period of time. When they're given powers, they exploit, and it doesn't work. Even today, we see the capitalistic system in countries like America. It is also not very well run, right? There are too many drawbacks. So many, we see so much division between poor and rich in this country, right? Rich are getting richer with everything. The Corona had made the rich even richer, poor even poorer, right? So in this way, and there is a lot more confusion in the society, the way it is divided right now. So the best system is always if we follow what Krishna has given, the originally, right? Chaturvarna Maya system. So if you follow this system, everybody leads a harmonious life in this world, and at the end of it, they actually go back to, they achieve perfection, right? Such a natural division. Yeah, so we'll stop here. I'm not feeling very well now. If you have any questions, we can discuss.
No, Prabhu, take rest.
Thank you, Prabhus. Sagar Prabhu, Siddharth Prabhu, Rinku, Rani Mataji, Aranya Mataji, Rashmi Mataji. Happy to see all of you. Varalakshmi Mataji, Uma Mataji, Sweta, Sri Vidya, Siddharth Prabhu. Happy to see you all. Thank you all. We'll again meet next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you,
We should
Prabhu.
learn from you. Like,
Hare
you're so
Krishna.
dedicated.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol Mataji. Take care, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Akka. Hello, Akka.